And it starts right now because right now is about 7 o'clock. As a matter of fact, we're about 30 seconds or so early from 7 o'clock this morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
Oh, my. Where did that deep voice come
I
from?
come out hot this morning.
There you go. Yeah, I've got the gruesome threesome in here this morning. And Kelly's back. She's all, in case you're not watching us on YouTube, Kelly dresses every day to match whatever the microphone windscreen color is.
That is so not true.
Well, on some days you do.
It just happens to work out that way. Yeah.
And I just got an orange one over here, and sometimes I actually have orange on.
Yeah. Today I'm wearing
Not today.
pink.
So anyway, we do fashion statements in here from time
Yeah.
to time. No?
Well, no.
Well, Lee matches her microphone today.
Yeah, I even have black boots on. See?
Your black boots and
Yeah.
I got pink shoes on.
no, you don't.
Yes, she does.
I do.
You got faded pink. They're almost
They're
like
light pink. They're like blush.
what?
Yeah. I blend
What's blush?
like light pink.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Is that kind of like a blush wine then maybe?
Probably.
You
Yeah.
don't know.
Maybe.
I don't
Well,
know
now
either.
that we've all walked the red carpet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got kicked off twice.
Yes.
Okay, welcome to Wednesday. It is the Wednesday edition of Live and Local, and we got coming up this morning at 7:30, a little early this morning. Dr. Rosemary Stein, going to join us. I guess we're in a critical stage of having diseases like flu and RSV, and I don't think COVID has made a resurgence in North Carolina yet, but they're concerned about it over the winter time, and they're still encouraging people to get their vaccines. But flu looks like it's going to be maybe kind of a nasty event this year.
Hmm.
So it started a little bit early. So we'll talk with Dr. Rose about that and what we can expect with the upcoming holidays. That's always a critical time. One person in a room full of old people, one person with the sniffles and the flu can really create havoc for the week after Christmas and over New Year's.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we'll chat a little bit about that this morning. Tragedy in Louisiana overnight. A possible tornado tore through the town of Keithville, killed 2 people, including a young boy, and first responders are searching for the young kid's 30-year-old mother. Several structures in the area damaged, electrical lines and trees knocked down. Deputies, K9 teams, firefighters, and volunteers are still searched through the entire night through debris for the missing mom. Man, this changing in the weather, when you get hot meets cold and cold meets hot and all sorts of things like that, it can trigger some very drastic weather. And quite often tornadoes are spawned. They wrote this as a possible tornado until they get on the ground. It has all the indications that it is a tornado or was a tornado, but until the crews get on the ground after daylight the next day and show that it is not, there's some other winds that are generated that cause stuff that very similar results, things being blown over and whatever. But a twister itself has that twisting, turning motion. And when they get in, they find trees that are twisted and broken off as, a twisting formation. They can, at that point in time, pretty well say it's a tornado.
Right.
I don't know what the difference is. The end result for the people on the ground is the same. It's bad.
They found that mother one street over.
Have they found her?
Yeah, they found her one street
okay.
over
Last
from
time
where the
I checked.
house used to be, underneath debris.
Alive or?
Dead.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
she was deceased.
Oh.
I did not see that. That must be
It just now
latest.
came out. Yes.
My. Yep. Yeah, they found, I guess. What
That's
an
so
awful
sad.
thing. Awful
Oh.
thing. Awful
The
situation.
terror of it all.
Kind of an unusual situation up in Alaska yesterday. A state trooper there, he died yesterday afternoon. A wild animal attack outside his house.
Good Lord.
Court Services Officer Curtis Worland fatally attacked by a musk ox.
A what?
A musk ox,
The heck is that?
a big animal.
Obviously a big, so a killer. Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to scare a group of those critters away from his dog kennel, which was at his home. And in the town, near the town of Nome, Alaska, Worland, who was in his 13th year of service, was declared dead at the scene. These muskoxes, I saw a picture of one that they sort of resemble the bisons.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
Look, look.
envisioned. Okay.
So they're big, they're
my.
bulky, and they're woolly.
Oh, they look cool.
I wouldn't be out there scaring them away. I'd be out there
No.
shooting at them from the kitchen window.
Well, I wonder what
I
they
wouldn't
taste
shoot
like,
them
you
either.
know?
But no, we don't do that.
Well, you know,
You're in their territory.
on there in my yard. Came in
Wow.
his yard
Hmm.
after his dog. Huh. Now, you got some doggies. What would you do?
First of all, I wouldn't be living in Alaska. So there's that.
Suppose one of those muskoxes managed to get to North Carolina
Oh,
and showed up
please.
in your backyard.
It would have a
After
hard,
your
it'd
dog-
have to clear my 6.5-foot fence.
Oh, they
first
just
off.
plow through it. They're big.
Well,
Mm.
we'd have to see.
I can know what you're
Mhm.
going to be doing. I know what you do to people that make you mad.
But that's different. I like animals more than I do people.
Well, it's closely related to the sheep and goat family.
No way, that thing's huge. How's that
It
sheep
is.
and goat?
That's
That's
a
like
big
that's
sheep.
like the cow family. That thing was big.
Yeah, it's more. It says it's more related, closely related to the sheep and goats.
They're liars.
Yeah,
But
the DNA is
yeah.
closely related. is
They
what it
need to
is.
check it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like what was it? The coyote dogs? What were we calling them? The coy dogs?
Coy dog.
Yes, coy dog.
Nope.
Yeah, right. Also, coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to be talking with Dr. Greg Murphy, Congressman from the 3rd District here in North Carolina. And he's got some news about the about funding for the military. So y'all need to stay tuned for that. If you've got questions you want to ask beforehand, give us a call, 910-333-0139. 910-333-0139. Love to talk with you guys this morning. In fact, I'm kind of curious right now. We're in making some changes yesterday, and I'd like to know what our telephone calls sound like since everything was discombobulated.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
On our massive console in here. It took quite a while and several trips to get it straightened out.
Well, there you go.
Well, we're about to find out.
Well, we're going to find out exactly how it sounds. Good morning. Who's this?
It's the donkey man this morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Tim.
Hello, Tim. How are
Bringing
you?
in, yeah, I'm doing all right. Bring a little financial report to you this morning.
Okay,
so
that will be good.
hopefully
And
you'll be interested in
yeah,
it.
we got the caller number 2 on line 2. So hang in there for just a minute if you would. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, I'll be real quick. St. Diane works for Farm Service Agency, and they do a handle programs for farmers and stuff.
Mhm.
And I like to report this year, it was open to the public, the information. This year alone, one program called ELAP, is ELAP, which is Emergency Livestock Assistance Program. And it's something that the government gives out. And what it pertains to is disaster. And we've been in a drought situation and this past year. And so what has happened, and it takes a long time to get, you got to dot your I's, cross your T's. And I just want to report that Onslow County, the farmers and stuff around in Onslow County has $5 million has been brought back into this county
Oh, good.
from loss from the farmers. Now, Rayford, you're going to love this one. This is the reason I'm even calling. 1.7 million of that. Do you want to guess who that went for?
Hopefully it went for aquaculture.
Yeah, oyster farmers.
There you go.
Oh.
Yay.
Now it's Mercy Livestock, yeah, but you got a lot of oyster farmers in Oslo County. In the way that
No kidding.
they lease property for marine fisheries, and it's a costly program. I mean, it costs these guys to see these oysters, and they've had a lot of disaster this year. And I just want to report that, and it amazed me when it came out with it yesterday. And that's just one program.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the farmers don't have to pay to get in that program. And there is other programs that farmers have to pay into unless you are what they call a new farmer, which is somebody that's been farming 10 years or less, or, and y'all going to like this one too, a veteran.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Yeah, veteran farmers don't have to pay for the NAP program.
Well,
But I just
I
want
like
to let
that.
you know that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. So that's money comes right back into the county to pay taxes, pay bills,
There you
and
go.
what have you. But it's a livestock program, but it also handles bees. It handles farm raised fish and oysters,
Mhm.
leased oysters.
Oh, that's good.
But I just want to let you know that. I know you're always interested in the aquaculture program.
Absolutely.
But we will talk to y'all later. I'll get off.
Thank you.
We'll
Tim,
see you, bud.
thank you,
Thanks.
Tim. Appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Got another caller here. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. This is the Sage of Half Moon.
Well, hello
My
there.
Goodness gracious,
Vic.
Mr. Sage. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling well. I'm glad you guys are too.
Do you know what day of the week it is?
Oh, don't say hump day. You
I
always
did not.
jump
I just
on
want to
that.
know, do you know what day of the week it is?
Well, why wouldn't
Of
you?
course I do. Despite my loss of brain cells from smoking marijuana.
I'm just
jeez.
trying to get you
I
to admit
wondered where
that.
he was going.
Oh,
Okay.
here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you haven't told me yet what day of the week it is.
Yeah, and I'm not going to. I got to talk to Ms. Kelly.
What's up?
Did you happen to catch the new documentary on public television last night?
No. What's it about?
A Different Key is the name of the show,
Okay.
and it's about the first man diagnosed with autism.
No, I need to check that out.
The
Okay.
first man. Okay.
Yeah, well, autism was a new invention, just like Alzheimer's, and it follows
It's a new
the man
discovery,
right
not
up-
an invention.
I need to look at that. You said it was on PBS?
What was the name
Yes,
of it?
ma'am.
Okay. A Different Key.
A Different Key.
Yeah, it's not on tonight. I already checked, but it premiered last night,
Okay.
and I'm sure they'll be running it again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to check it out.
Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't listen to that socialist left-wing station much.
Well, no, what, PBS?
Yeah.
I watch a lot of the British comedies on there. That's what when I turn to that, and
Mhm.
occasionally they have cooking shows from around the world, and I'll watch it then.
Oh, those cooking shows.
Those are good. I like them.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, it follows the story of the first person ever diagnosed with autism.
Oh, I'm
so
gonna have to look at that. I'm
that's-
gonna check that out. But no, Vic Chocolate. You'd be surprised. I do watch it sometimes. But like I said, my British comedies are on there, so I definitely watch that.
She likes to make fun of the Brits. That's
No,
what
I
it's
love
all
the
about.
comedies. They're good.
Does Robin watch him? I want to know because if he
No.
starts talking with a British accent.
He doesn't watch them very often. Sometimes if I'm in there watching, he'll like what he
He
knows.
likes
I
to do
watch
the
the same ones
Irish
over and over.
accent.
Yeah,
He
it's
doesn't
not
do,
Irish. It's awful.
he,
Don't
does, he
start.
doesn't do Brit too well, but he does Irish
He
pretty
does
well.
not even remotely
Irish?
good.
I think he does Irish. I bet
No.
he can roll his
No, it's
R's.
when he does a Southern. Oh my gosh.
South Ireland. Huh?
Southern.
Oh,
When he
so-
his
I gotta
true
check
to
that
form
PBS
redneck.
out. So Vic, how you been? Haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, no, I'm busy remodeling the house.
Oh, good.
But let's turn to Mr. Rayford,
I'm busy.
the language fascist.
Oh,
Okay.
Let's hear it.
gosh.
Language fascist.
Let's hear it. What has he done?
What
Well-
you mean by me talking about no language stuff? I don't even know what fascist is. Go ahead.
Oh, you did your one other accent.
No, I don't have no. I
Okay.
ain't got no accent, boy. What you doing?
Hey, listen, all accents are equal, and everybody's got one.
No, sir, I don't have one.
Yeah,
I got two.
but you try to make these corny little jokes about language often. Okay,
Such as
your favorite one is the meaning of the word a, which you can pronounce either ah or a.
I have never mentioned the definition or the pronunciation
Oh,
of the
you
word
do,
a.
you
Have
do
I?
all the time. You don't have a gun.
Oh, I
you
don't
don't
have a
have-
gun. I do not have a gun. That's just an emphasis on the word.
You don't have a key to handcuffs.
I don't.
Okay, and
What, you looking to borrow one or something? You anticipating the man coming down to see you?
No, well, mostly I get plastic, so that doesn't matter.
Okay.
But as you go into your next little segment about the tackle shop, you always say the New River.
Yeah.
Why do you say the New River?
Because there are a couple of new rivers. This is the New River, as far as I'm concerned. There is another New River in North Carolina.
Really?
Which is bigger and
I don't
cleaner.
care. I don't care. Where is it? It's not around these parts. Don't care about it. This is the New River.
No, it's just New River.
No.
Drop the V.
To
Drop
me,
the
to me, it's a description. The New River.
V. Don't tell that to people.
I could call it my New River if I wanted to. It would be my New River, not
That
yours.
would be better.
Oh,
That would
come
be
on.
better. I
No,
would
I wanna-
encourage you to do
No,
that.
no, no.
My New River.
No, I can't do that because I want to share.
No, you just said it's your river. Okay, so you don't want to share. It's your river.
I said I could call
I
it
can hear it.
my river, but I don't do that because I want to share.
Why not? Pete Seeger would do that with the Hudson River. You know, he would talk about my dirty stream.
Well, that's his fault, not
Okay.
mine. You ought to clean it
Well,
up.
you call it my dirty stream and refer to New River.
Okay. Well, there is another New River. It's in western North Carolina,
told you
which
that.
flows
I
up
know that.
through Virginia and West
Right.
Virginia.
I
But
didn't
who
know
even
that.
talks about it?
No, it's not here.
I
It's
talk
just-
right.
about it because
well, you're
it's
so
a
out there.
wonderful-
You're
I
so
didn't
far
even
out
know
to the
that.
left of part
And
of
I'm
the state.
from North
it
Carolina,
doesn't
and I
matter.
didn't know that.
Okay.
It's
I didn't know
it's
till
a
Rivers said it.
wonderful- It's a wonderful river, and you want some whitewater rafting?
Nope.
Go raft New River Gorge.
I don't want it.
Not the New River Gorge, just
Yes.
New River Gorge.
The New River doesn't need a gorge. It's beautiful without it. Vic, we got another caller here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, have fun, guys.
You
Oh,
too.
I got one more thing.
Go for it.
A question for Dr. Greg and Mr. Murphy when he comes on.
Okay.
Dr. Greg and Mr. Murphy.
All right. What's
yeah,
the question?
like, you know,
Yes.
like the Robert Louis Stevenson story.
Okay.
Okay. Ask him, will he vote for a bill in Congress removing marijuana from the Class 1 drug list?
Okay. We'll ask him that.
Please. Okay. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Vic. And another caller. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Steve. How y'all
Hello,
doing today?
Steve.
Good
Long
morning,
time no
Steve.
see. Well, at least 4 days,
How
5
about
days.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got to meet the mighty Rayford.
No, I was actually coming out that night, so I had my first venture into the public life that night.
I was hoping you would
I
call.
don't think
But I did get me a corner booth. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah. And thanks to my really, really good friend Randy down there at a place that hired you, the Borough. You were, and Steve was playing the other night, and of course, I have to get in and early and get out so I can get away without having to have too many contacts. So right now, at least until Friday, when I go get to see the doctors again, they tell me how I am or am not.
I got to meet Theo as well. He came out there a little later after you left,
Really?
and he was asking about you. Yeah, I got to meet him and his lovely wife as well.
I wonder why he hasn't called. I
Because
feel-
he's waiting for us to call him.
I feel
We have to
slighted.
plan it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna call yesterday and the day before, but y'all had such a busy show that I wound up just listening the whole time and never really got around to calling in.
It did get kind of
But,
busy. Yeah.
maybe he was in the same place I was, captivated.
Yeah. Oh, is that
Steve-
what it is? Sorry, I like that word, captivated.
Steve, how did the
Yeah.
phone call sound today?
They sound a lot better. Y'all's volume is a lot better, and then the volume on the callers on the TV is a lot better as well.
There you
That's
go.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, Rayford
Good job.
fixed
It's-
whatever damage had been done to the board by
it's been a
the little
considerable period of
gremlins that
time.
come in here.
Yeah, and you can relate. You got a board. You leave the thing set up, or you set it up, and yada 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 yada. And the only real difference is here is we got a board that's set up that has to interact with at least 2 other locations. after it leaves from here. So it's like 3 computers are feeding stuff in here, and then at the other end, it gets into another computer for the over the air programming, and it's like, good God, everything's got to match. And you know the world of digital. You've been around long enough before the world of digital, right?
Oh yeah.
Before the world of digital, you could fudge and you could overmodulate. You could do this, you could do that. But I'll tell you what, in the world of digital, you do that and you have distortion.
Well, what I always like about analog is it's consistent. It's always the same. With digital, you can set something up the same way, and for some reason, something will be different.
They call digital gremlins.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel your pain there.
Well,
But anyway, just wanted to call in and say hey this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Here's the topic I want to throw out there, and you can ask Dr. Greg Murphy about this as well.
Okay.
Is
Y'all taking
the
notes?
independent legislator theory that we got that's going through the Supreme Court right now.
Independent legislator theory in the
Yeah.
Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Speak.
Yeah,
I haven't looked it up.
and you haven't. North Carolina is got a case before the Supreme Court that they're I guess looking into right now, where the legislator wants to be able to draw the district lines, and the court not have any say so over that.
Oh yeah.
That's I believe that's the gist of it. And basically, they want to be able to draw the lines however they see fit, and nobody can oversee that. They
Well,
can
you
just do it the way they
know,
want.
Steve, I would just be perfectly happy with that as long as they did it my way.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I think there should always be checks and balances. I think that's the fundamental basis of this country, and to take that away, I know it's checks and balances are a pain in the butt for the people trying to get something done. But
Well, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I do think that sometimes there can be so many radical movements or desires or whatever that they get down to somebody failed to cross a T or dot an I, and then it throws the whole thing out of kilter, and it delays elections, it delays setup here, setup. It creates a problem, and people misuse our court system for that very purpose. Whether it's Democrats or Republicans, they both do it. They both attack the system, and you know it just depends upon who's not who's going to benefit, and that's what it comes down to.
Right. And the courts are there to protect the population, you know, for the most part.
Mhm.
But they are, you know, frivolous lawsuits. They are, like you say,
Yeah.
people who try and take advantage of that system. Yeah, and we just got to weed through that.
Yep.
You know.
Agree with you.
Yeah. But anyway, that might be a good question for Dr. Greg Murphy to see what his thoughts are on it. And look into it a little bit more. I'm doing the same as well and trying to understand it a little bit more.
Okay, sir.
You know, I know North Carolina is considered, you know, one of the worst gerrymandered states in the union from the people who look at it that way.
Mhm.
You know, I think our legislators are 8 Republicans and 4 Democrats, even though our votes run about 50-50 Democrat and Republican through the state. So, but at any rate, I think they should, you know, it seems odd that they want to remove oversight. Anybody who wants to remove oversight makes me nervous and makes me question why.
Agree with you there.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, y'all have a wonderful day.
Take care, Steve.
And
Thank you.
I'll be listening. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it. You're live and local Real Talk. Don't go away. Weather's next. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Dr. Rosemary Stein. Don't go away. And we're back, and I tell you what, folks, Christmas is right around the corner. We talked to a gentleman yesterday. He's a boater. He was in here, and there's certain things that he needs, and he kind of found out yesterday one of them. If you're got somebody on your shopping list that's a boater or a fisherman or whatever, why don't you ask his fishing buddy or his boating buddy, unless it's you. If it's you, you know what he or she needs, right? You should,
Right.
because sometimes they just tell you. Old electronics will wear out. Your boat's going to last longer than your electronics. That's just a fact of life. When they get to the point that, and I'm not talking about because of new innovations, that just comes along with every year. They're going to do this and bigger and better and brighter and pick up more fish here and pick up more fish there. That's one thing. If that's what your game is, cool. You can take that under consideration as well. But the electronics, they are electronics. They're in an environment that is not conducive to electronics. It's called salt water around this neck of the woods. They will wear out. The wires get worn out. The units spend a lot of time in the sun with lots of heat during the summertime, especially. They wear out. So if it's that time, talk with your boater, talk with your angler, find out what they want. What a great Christmas gift, and you don't have to go very far to find it. Tideline Marine, right here in Jacksonville. They're your one-stop shop for electronics, for boats, new boats, used boats, new motors. Got new motors in stock as well. Fishing tackle, pretty much anything you need on the White Oak River or the New River right here in Jacksonville. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River
You're killing me.
in downtown Jacksonville. Winds today out of the north, 10 to 15 knot seas, 3 to 5, except around 2 feet near shore. Dominant period 8 seconds. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Enjoy today, because beginning tonight, small craft advisory is in effect from late tonight through Friday afternoon. Southeasterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 20 knots. Get bigger. Southerly, 20 to 25 in the afternoon. Seas 5 to 7 feet, building to 6 to 9 in the afternoon. Near shore seas about 2 to 4 feet, building to 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Dominant period 8 seconds, decreasing to 6 seconds in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers are going to be choppy, becoming rough in the afternoon. And on Friday, winds out of the west, 15 to 20 knots. Seas gust up to 25 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. 4 to 6 footers, except 3 to 4 near shore.
Today, partly sunny, a high of 52. Tonight, the rain starts. The low will be 44. Tomorrow, it's going to rain all day. And then after 1 p.m., there's even a chance of a thunderstorm. The winds will be gusty tomorrow as well, as high as 18 miles an hour. And it didn't even give us a temperature for, 68. Then tomorrow night, some showers and thunderstorms, and then it kind of tapers off a little bit. And then on Friday, sunny at a high of only 58.
Warm weather meaning cold temperatures like we're currently having.
Will make it thunderstorm.
It's going to be disturbed, the weather.
Yeah,
Let's
it
just
will
put
be.
it that way.
Yeah.
Dr.
Cagey.
Rose, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. That's not northern weather, though. We're in the nice south.
We are in the south.
They're
It's just
getting quite an amount of blizzards and snowstorms up in the northeast.
yes,
And
they are,
well, in the Midwest too.
and they can keep it.
They can keep it. I agree.
So anyway, and along with some of that nasty weather, particularly when you got cold weather, because we've had temperatures down in the 30s here. Had a little frost on the windshield again this morning. Temperatures in the 30s, and then all of a sudden tomorrow, is it, or next day, we're going to have temperatures approaching 70 degrees
Tomorrow, and then it goes back to 50.
That's not real good for people, is it?
No, it takes a little bit extra for the body to acclimate. So that's why your immune systems are a little sluggish at that time. So make sure to drink plenty of fluids. Try to get your rest, especially before Christmas, because we're dedicating our energy to other things. So kids tend to get more sick during those times when the temperature is changing and when the weather is changing, like it will be doing one day sunny, one day rainy, one day maybe the thunderstorms. Children do tend to get sick more during that time, so you have to be more vigilant.
Something I've noticed during my convalescence period here, I know that during the summertime, when I get hot, I'm outside or doing whatever, I get thirsty. So I drink a lot of fluids, right? During the wintertime, I'm not hot, but my body still needs those fluids. I just don't feel like I need them. Am I in the wrong boat here, or is that what happens with a lot of people, that we can actually become dehydrated during the wintertime as fast, if not faster, than during the summertime?
That is absolutely correct. And when
I
that
discovered
happens,
something.
you may be feeling sick and you don't even know why.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about it. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel like the weak and dizzies, and I have fatigue. And the reason is that people are not rehydrating themselves. So many times that I only know that a kid is dehydrated because, well, his heart rate is up, or because we have to get a urine, and I can see in the urine that it's very concentrated. And then I realize this child's just dehydrated. And so it's up to the parents to make sure that they're pushing the fluids even through the winter. It's very important.
Yeah, I found out yesterday. I was out and about, and I wasn't drinking like I normally do. Actually left my cup here overnight at the studio, so I just did not keep a steady stream of fluids going. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't feel that well. Then I started thinking about a problem. Maybe it's not me with other issues, underlying issues. Maybe it's something that I just haven't. I went and got a quart of orange juice, drank half the quart first, finished it off later on, and I felt so much better.
Wow. That's great to hear. And yeah, that's a great reminder for all people. And older folks will get dehydrated very easily and tire out. And having that increases your chances to having UTIs or urinary tract infections. So you got to watch out.
Yeah, well, I took care of that problem yesterday, so that's good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And for my friends out there, and I know you're in the same boat, because I know we're all do the same thing when we get older. And if I'm not thirsty, I just don't go get anything to drink. But even when I'm not thirsty, I better go get something to drink. So the doctor has just verified what I felt. So go for it, y'all. Pneumonia, a flu. I'm hearing all sorts of stories. We've got the Christmas season upon us. People are all over the stores, and I'm a little concerned that little Johnny and little Sarah are going to come home during the Christmas holidays and go visit old people. And then the week after Christmas and going into New Year's, we're going to have a bunch of sick elderly people around here, and that stuff is dangerous. We've already had one flu death among I think it was an 8-year-old in North Carolina last week. What is going on?
Well, we're back to normal, where
great.
we have the flu season and not other concerning illnesses like COVID. And people forgot that there's flu and you get sick, and you got to watch over your kids and make sure you look at them in the morning before you rush out. And these poor kids are being sent to school sick. Sometimes they're running fever, sometimes they're coughing, sometimes they're just feeling miserable with flu-like symptoms. So just look at them and make sure that they're okay. Have them have a good breakfast, because if they go to school and they're spreading stuff around, or they catch something and they bring it back home, not to say that everything in the world is, has to be around that you have to do everything for Christmas, but it will put a stop to your Christmas really fast. And if they get sick, just keep this in mind for next week. If the kids get sick and they're running fevers, I think it's a good idea to stay home. Don't take those kids over to grandma.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put grandma in the hospital. And we need to be thinking about others as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Temperature, keep a good thermometer handy. And that's one of your first signs of a situation coming on. Is that a good idea?
Absolutely. You would not believe how many parents we ask for a temperature with one of our monitors to see if the child needs some fever relieving before coming into the clinic. I don't have a thermometer. Like, okay.
What kind of parent?
You feel hot.
I bet you got one for the roast that they're going to be
What
cooking.
kind of parent don't have a thermometer?
Well, during COVID, you couldn't find
Why
one.
would you not? I've got like
That's true.
4 of them.
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. So make sure, check around, see if you got your thermometer so that you have an idea, because a temperature of 104 or 103
That's
very
dangerous.
different from 100.4. Very different. And it tells the doctor, whoever's going to be treating your child or even yourself, that you've got something serious. You with 104, I'm starting to think, okay, could this be a febrile urinary tract infection? Can this be a pneumonia? Can this be strep throat? There are certain things that cause higher fevers and certain illnesses that tend to cause lower temperatures.
Well, Dr. Rose, I have a question for you. I saw an article this morning, and I wanted to know, is this something that you're seeing up there, where there's a short supply of children's, like, over-the-counter medicines, Tylenol, the kids' ibuprofen, that kind of thing, but also, liquid amoxicillin for children is in short supply. Are we seeing that here in North Carolina?
Absolutely. We're getting shortages of Tamiflu, amoxicillin, albuterol, which is, for asthma treatment.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very hard to find Motrin. So this is unprecedented. In my whole career of medicine, which has been 30 years, I've never seen that. So I don't know whose door to knock on or what to do about it, because when it's not there, it's not there. I've had to figure out different ways to treat different kinds of infections when needed, or to tell the parents, just write it through with the flu, and you don't have to have the Tamiflu. Look for these signs because it's just not there. It's almost like jungle medicine.
That's scary. It's a
I
very
heard a lot
scary
about
thing.
the Tamiflu, and I mean that's one of your primary go-tos for
Mhm.
kids, right? But
It is.
a major
It is. And I
shortage.
offer it all the time. Some parents prefer to do what we call supportive care, and the warm bath and the liquids, and just resting a lot. But it relieves parents a little bit that you're taking the edge off of the illness if
Mhm.
you offer it to them. And I just haven't been able to do that consistently this winter.
That's awful. Okay.
That's scary.
Let's see. Well, you got everything's ready. You got all the gifts wrapped under the tree. You got the cat out of the way and all that sort of good stuff.
No, absolutely not. Well, I don't have a cat, thank goodness. But everything else
Oh
on
boy,
the
I know
list,
what to get you now.
everything off the list is a no.
Okay.
No gifts have been packaged up yet. The tree just went up.
That's good.
Yeah, it's bad. And we have our staff Christmas party on Friday. So,
Oh, goodness.
yeah. It's like everybody else out there. Don't think it's just yourselves and you're stressing. Yeah, Dr. Rose says that, take a deep breath,
Mhm.
get done what you can get done. Don't make yourself sick, because otherwise, if you do that, then what's the sense of Christmas? It's to relax and spend some time with
There
the
you
ones
go.
that you love.
Well, Lee has put out an invitation for a Christmas party that she's hosting.
Huh?
Yeah. Well,
What?
it's that checkout the checkout line.
Oh, the checkout line at Walmart. Yes, we're going to have an employee Christmas party. The self checkout.
Oh, my.
So we're all going to meet at Walmart. I'll pick the date and time. Wear your blue vest.
That's too much.
Very nice. I like that. I like that.
Dr. Rose, thank you as always.
Always a pleasure. You guys have a great week.
You too.
Let's take a break. You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME, and we'll be right back. And we're back, and we have a caller. Good morning. Who's this?
This is Ernie Lee.
Hello,
Mr. Tommy, how you doing,
District
Rayford?
Doing fine, sir. Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning, all. Yeah, I could not call yesterday due to phone issues, but good to talk to y'all today.
Well, we appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. Are you still dealing with your conference?
I'm still in the conference. I'm in Western North Carolina in Macon County, and it's pretty far out here. It's been a good episode. We met with the South Carolina solicitors, and we were just brainstorming a lot of different things that we're all facing in terms of budget and prosecuting cases and things such as that. So it's been a really good meeting.
Yeah. We talked about, of course, you made major news this week dealing with a particular case, an infamous case here in Onslow County. And I know you got a lot of criticism for working out a deal, if you want to call it a deal. I can't really call it that, an arrangement that where a notorious, I can call him that because he's completed guilty and he's been convicted, a notorious murderer, killed a 3-year-old child who had just turned 3 back in 2017 because he was a meth head doing dope, and the child was crying. So he smothered the child and killed the child with chloroform. Everybody wanted him to be executed. There are some issues. I saw issues with it, but I'm a layman. It was not intentional. It was not premeditated. Negligent, absolutely. I'm not sure you could have gotten a verdict of capital murder that would warrant execution in a case like that. Am I wrong? Or that would be just rolling the dice, would it not?
I think it would have been a real challenge, and I'll tell you why. The aggravating circumstance I had on this one was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel.
Right.
And there were no cases out there dealing with this type of chloroform, this type of substance being used to kill someone. Obviously, I was going to argue, had to go into trial, that it was especially heinous due to her age. But also, I was going to put evidence in from those inmates who said that he accidentally did it, that he wanted to put her to sleep but not to kill her. So I knew what was going to happen on this. The defense was going to make a big deal about that he lacked specific intent to kill.
Yep.
If you lack specific intent to kill and the jury finds that, then it's going to be second-degree murder.
There you go.
So I had to weigh all these things out. And I'm going to tell you, I thought about this a lot. This is one of these cases that I worked on so long. And then secondly, I met with some of my assistant DAs just to kind of get their opinions on it. And that was unanimous at my office. It was unanimous that take a plea to first-degree murder and get life without parole if you can get it. If he chose not to do that, then go to trial.
Yeah, even if you'd come back with a second-degree murder, you might get life, but you would not get life without parole. You would have all sorts of issues. The guy would be out on, calling for everything from appeals to whatever for the rest of his life. I want parole for the rest of his life. I mean, we saw that with Marcus Schrader, and he was and that was a premeditated series of murders. So we saw that then. What makes you think this would not happen in a case like this?
And that's a real, because you and I have been in the system. We know that these cases, particularly death penalty cases, take on a life of their own. And they just go on forever. I mean, they're a good example of this. Just last week, we've got a case that was happening in Sampson, but tried in Onslow County, a very horrific murder. One defendant got life without parole. One got the death penalty. Last week, we were up there having motions 22 years after the fact about jury selection.
God.
I did not try that case. Dewey Hudson and Greg Butler, who was an assistant at the time, they tried the case. And there's an issue now filed about jury selection. And if the state loses that motion, it's a new trial.
Oh, yeah. I want to see you gather up all that evidence. Witnesses.
Yeah, you know how hard it is to even try something just a few years old, much less this 22-year-old.
Absolutely.
22 years old when you're trying to find witnesses.
Well,
And
I looked at this case with Mr. Kimry, and yes, my emotions were running at that point in time. Whoever did this needs to die. And
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with the death penalty. In fact, I'm a strong supporter of it, as I know you are as well.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem with somebody like that dying. It's would be best for society. Legally, you didn't have a choice unless you
Well,
wanted to roll the dice and take a possibility of one juror coming back. I ain't going to find him guilty of first degree murder, not even first degree murder, because the elements of first degree murder were questionable. You have a hard time proving that with convincing 12 people, in my opinion.
well, the defense attorney in this case gave a very good argument the other day on behalf of his client. He sort of gave a closing argument. He said, look, the state, in his opinion, would not be able to prove premeditation, deliberation, and specific intent to kill. Now,
Pretty
obviously,
much.
I would have argued against that. And of course, we still would have had the felony murder with the child abuse, but that would have still been highly contested
Oh, of course.
based upon the way our statute reads, in which, so, this is one of those, Rayford, I thought about it a long time. I've weighed the pros and cons of it, and I feel good about my decision.
Okay.
I feel very good about my decision. I own it, and I feel good about it. I think I did the right thing. And as district attorney, I'm not always supposed to do exactly what's popular, but what's right.
Yeah, and if you tried it out, and even if you got a conviction, first degree murder, whether it went to a capital situation or not, but if you got a first degree murder, there's automatic appeal in a death penalty case, and that's going to just drag on forever.
Forever,
And
a decade.
yes, and what are the chances that this guy, life without parole right now is life without parole? You're going to be there, okay, till death do us part. But if it's a second degree case, if it's bumped down to a second degree case, there is the possibility he could walk the streets of North Carolina again, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I see that quite often, particularly in those cases where someone received life imprisonment before it was without parole and it was with parole. Almost every one of those individuals is now out.
Yeah.
I deal with those letters. These were cases prosecuted by Bill Andrews and Dewey Hudson, who got life under the old law. They're now out.
Yeah.
And it does mean life without parole. And I would be very, very surprised if the legislature would ever change. I think I'd be shocked if the legislature would ever change that, because the public wants it.
No, absolutely. I mean, they would be, their election cycle would be a problem for them. I can tell you that.
It would be, because there'd be a lot of angry families around the state of North Carolina who relied upon life without parole as meaning life without parole.
Ernie, well, good luck on your conference up there. Be very careful coming home. You got some inclement weather coming up.
Yes.
And a lot of wind and stuff like that as well. So be ever so safe,
Yes,
please.
Yes, sir. And I certainly will be careful. And it'll be good to be back to Jacksonville. And I'm working on more murder cases, frankly.
Yeah.
So
Special.
as soon as I get back, I'm starting preparing for another one.
We'll work on a day to get you in here where we can discuss at length some of these things
I have
as
some
well.
questions.
Very soon.
Yes.
Absolutely. I look forward to that, and I appreciate all that y'all do, educating the public about criminal cases and other matters. And I think that's just a great thing. The more you know about something, the better you are.
Yeah, the more emotion you can take out of a situation, the better you are.
It's hard to do that too.
It is hard to do it, but got to do it. Ernie,
Well, I hope y'all have a wonderful week, rest of the week, and then I'll see you soon.
you got it.
Right.
Take care, Ernie. Ernie Lee, District Attorney here for this 4 county, 5 county, 15 county, 200. I think he's got about
1,000,000
200
county.
counties, right?
Yeah.
He has to
Just
travel.
about.
He needs an
But
airplane.
don't you feel like when all this has been resolved now, didn't you feel like a burden had been taken off of
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah.
I mean, I did. I mean, I wasn't
I was
involved
afraid
in
the guy was going to walk
but-
with a second degree, to be honest with you. And it could be, it could easily have gone that direction if you know what the law
yes.
is and you study that thing
Yes.
and you watch history and you got a good defense attorney, which was all the case, and you had limited, he said, she said, it was all he said. And he said, I didn't mean to do it.
I think it was
I
just
was stoned.
Mhm.
I know it was so emotional for all of us.
was.
I can only imagine the emotions that our district attorney felt and
Oh,
had to
yeah,
go through.
definitely.
And it's just, I'm glad it's over
Me
with.
too. Let's take a break. You're live in local Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. And 8 o'clock, a little bit after 8 o'clock, running about a minute late or so this morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Live and Local Real Talk. And on the line with us, Dr. Greg Murphy, 3rd District Representative. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hope y'all are doing well.
Hey, we're hanging in here, sir. I do appreciate you taking some time out this morning. Boy, things have been busy in the district.
Yeah, very, very busy. Very, very good for us with the recent passage of the National Defense Authorization Act. Really, $190 million for our military bases, Cherry Point, Camp Lejeune, New River. Really a good infusion of what's needed to help strengthen our military. Our service members all got a 4.6% pay raise.
Yay.
Long overdue. And $500 million actually added to housing allowances for our service members, which I know is so difficult, especially in Jacksonville and in Onslow County.
Absolutely.
So it was really a very good thing. So
we have issues here. Some people like me, I think we're the normal civilians out here. We hear things about China and Russia, North Korea, and these places. When are we going to get bombed?
I wish I could tell you that. I wish that weren't even a concern. But every day, this is a whole show to talk about. Russia gets pushed further and further and further into a corner. Putin becomes the bear with rabies that is going to go crazy one of these days. Iran right now is a powder keg because it most likely is a nuclear power. Thank you, President Biden. But it's undergoing the biggest revolt since 1979, since the Islamic Revolution occurred. China is imploding from within because of their lockdown strategies. It's a powder keg going on right now around the world, and so I pray some button is not going to get pushed. But as Biden and his administration have weakened our military, it's a very tenuous time.
I'm going to make this as simple for me to understand as possible. I've walked up to dogs that have been hit by a car. I did many years ago as a child. The dog was hurting. He was hurting really bad. I knew the dog. The dog knew me. We were friendly. The dog bit the stuffing out of me. When you put somebody that's hurting in a corner, it doesn't matter who they are or what kind of critter they are. You better watch out.
Yeah, they lash out. And this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen with Putin. I will still say two things. One, I believe that virus came out of a lab in China. I think it came out accidentally, but it did. And then two, I believe the Ukrainian war started with our disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan. And, Biden has to answer at least for the latter. And Putin basically told his generals, dust off those invasion plans. We have a weak American president. This is where it started, and it's turned into their Vietnam, if it will, just because the Ukrainians have fought very, very fiercely and obviously with our military support. But it's hurt Putin domestically, and it's cornered him, isolated him internationally, and so it's not a good time to be in the Russian government. So. Right. I pray something further does not happen with that, and then Russia's become further more aligned with Iran during this entire episode. They're using the Iranian military assets right now, so it's not a good time.
We're in this country in our military. We've sort of kept up with times, but we're primarily a nation of force. We've got missiles. We've got, we got some very aging missiles too. We've got missiles. We've got bombs. We've got airplanes. We got fighter jets. We all hear about all of these things. We've got guys on the ground with M16s. We've got a formidable force to go up against somebody else with something very similar to that. But what I'm reading about China and Iran, they have developed, and they're continuing to develop all sorts of weaponry that's way beyond what we can deal with at this time. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I will tell you, I was actually supposed to go congressional trip to Taiwan tomorrow night. Whether that's going to be, we're going to be stuck in D.C. or not, but it's to go over and meet with the Taiwanese government and look at what's going on over there. If China wants to take over Taiwan, I fear it would be a fait accompli. China is markedly advanced in what they're able to do, and now they have the largest navy. We don't have that even anymore. And so it's a very threatening time. It's an absolute threatening time.
So what are we to do? I mean, we're going to celebrate Christmas here shortly, and hopefully there will be no terrorist activity during that time, but it's always a possibility. What are we to do as citizens? Are we supposed to go to Washington and protest? Are we supposed to call our congressman? We got him on the line. Our senators, we're going to have him on the line next week, one of them. What are we supposed to do as individuals? How can we make our voices loud and clear?
It's a frustrating time, Rayford. It's a very frustrating time because the commander-in-chief, the quote commander-in-chief, cares more about the military using their pronouns and their transgender than some of the other stuff. Now, this does not by any means degrade our fine, our Marines and Camp Lejeune and everything, but when their commander-in-chief is really not a commander-in-chief, it's exceedingly difficult. And can we hold out until 2024? I sure hope so. But it's just an amazing, frustrating, absolutely frustrating time. I wish I had more power than I did. It's amazing how some people think I have so much power being a member of Congress to just go over to the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and fix things. I wish I had that power, but it's just not that simple.
One of 435, and it makes it very difficult. What are we looking at for the future? Next year is only right around the corner. Are we looking good, bad, or indifferent? I'm glad you've got the NDAA victories. I think that was great, by the way. Lots of good money there. And most of it goes to the military, to DOD. There are some of it that goes into other strategic locations as well. I understand that. That's the way it should be done. But is this enough? Do we have enough?
Well, I think it was a very, very well worked out bill. Is it ever enough? Probably not. But there are also many other priorities that we have to have domestically and some of these other things. But I think it really helps our military. Representative Rogers, who is the ranking member on Armed Services, really did a great job getting our input with negotiating that with the Democrats. What's happening now till the end of the year in D.C. is the Democrats are fighting amongst themselves. In some ways, like the Republicans now are fighting amongst themselves. That's a whole different discourse about quote continuing resolution to fund the government. I absolutely think this is an asinine way to run a government. We haven't had budgets in years. But it's become what's routine. I just absolutely think that's wrong. That said, we have to fund our military. We have to fund our government workers. We have to do these other things. The other thing is the Democrats are trying to put together this massive omnibus spending bill before they lose power in the House anyway on January 3rd. So I have no idea what my next 2 or 3 weeks look like, whether I'm going to be home for Christmas or not. So we'll see.
Goodness.
Well, I think maybe Washington is due for a massive snowstorm where nobody can get in or out for about until after the 3rd of January.
Oh, he's got to get out first.
Well, let it do when I'm in
Right.
North Carolina, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on home. But
Yes.
that way, just lock that sucker down and nobody does anything and screws anything up till after the 3rd. Dr. Murphy, I've got 2 other ladies in here with me today, or 2 ladies with me today, Kelly, of course, and Lee, of course. So
Yes.
I hate to hog all your time, but
Good morning, Dr. Murphy. I have some questions from some listeners for you. They sent us questions earlier, knowing that you were going to be on. First question is, what are your thoughts concerning the independent legislature theory that has been introduced into the U.S. Supreme Court concerning the North Carolina redistricting request to redraw the congressional lines?
Yeah. So it says very clearly in the Constitution that that power is given to our legislature. Okay, it says very, very clearly in the Constitution. Now, that said, people can sue one way or the other about those things. It's a little bit, I have to say, it's a little bit of a slippery slope. In New York, they originally gerrymandered pretty much the Republicans out of any type of ability to have any representation. Maryland basically made all their congressional districts all Democrat. Both of those got overturned in the courts. And I know now our Speaker Tim Moore is arguing this. I do think at some point there has to be some balance with this, but it says very clearly in the Constitution that state legislatures are supposed to do this. That said, it can go on both sides of the stream, so you got to be careful what you ask for, one way or the other. But we saw in North Carolina, our Democratic Supreme Court sent it to essentially 3 Democrats. Bob Orr, former Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr, can't count himself as a Republican, and it was switched around in that regard. Those are subsequently going to be redrawn. I think there can be an argument either way. I think there has to be, as with most things, there has to be balance. And so it'll be very interesting to see what the Supreme Court says. I know that the case was argued, I believe, last week in front of the Supreme Court, and they'll come up with their opinion, I would assuming, in a few months.
Okay, very good. The other question is, how would you vote for a bill in Congress to remove marijuana from the Class 1 drug list?
This is always a challenging question. I do believe as a physician that there are a few instances where marijuana has been shown to help individuals with chronic pain, sometimes with what we call inanition, where basically people are just wasting away, either from cancer or chronic disease, where it does have some definite uses. But as far as recreational use, I am adamantly against that, because I do believe that marijuana is a gateway drug. As soon as I step off the plane or step out of the car here in D.C., all I do is smell marijuana, and I'm sorry, it stinks. And I just I don't believe there should be recreational use of marijuana in this country. I just am very, very feel very, very strongly about that. So it's been shown. I mean, it's in multiple studies shown. There was a good study from Duke about 5, 6, 7 years ago that showed chronic use of marijuana leads to 5 times the number of psychiatric diseases, psychosis, and those type of things. And so, I'm sorry, I just can't get. I'm not in favor of recreational use of marijuana.
Okay. Well, those were the 2 I had.
All right, Kelly, anything you got
No,
over there?
none for now.
What do you see as after Christmas with a new Congress and a Republican-controlled Congress? Will there be enough there to help get bills through Congress, no problem, but then to be able to convince the Senate with their issues that this is stuff that's good for the country in spite of what the president wants, whatever it is you guys come up with?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. We're having a challenge right now within the Republican Party because there are several members that don't like Kevin McCarthy as a speaker, and they either don't want anybody or they want Andy Biggs. I like Andy Biggs. I will tell you this: I believe Kevin has earned the right to be speaker, to be voted as speaker. He has worked so hard to bring together all the different factions within the Republican Party, and those who have opposed him. Now, we've had some really, really good, excellent, and very transparent, respectful discussions for the most part within our caucuses about different people's concerns. And I tell you, to be honest with you, I think he's handled it a lot better than I would, because some people have been downright disrespectful and hateful in some regards. And, some people have some, I'll try to avoid some of that. But I think he's done an excellent job. And I've told both sides that. I think they've been very good about being respectful about their grievances. And I think he's been very good in helping our caucus come together and listen to be respectful of others' opinions. So I think he's done an excellent job on that. That said, we're 222 and they're 2 213, getting things passed is going to be a challenge. Pelosi was always able to get her folks in line. One of the Republicans' greatest assets is our individualism, but also one of our greatest challenges is our individualism. Democrats toe the line. They can bark and scream and do whatever, but then at the end of the day, they toe the line. Republicans don't always do that. And so it's going to be a challenging 2 years. Our hope is that we can just stop stupid things from being done and also bring to light the absolute nonsense is not even the best word of what's happened in a democratically controlled Congress with Hunter Biden, with Adam Schiff being the absolute liar that he has been about the Russian collusion and hoax and everything. And so, Jim Jordan is running judiciary, and Jim Jordan, by the way, is supporting Kevin McCarthy for speaker. And so it's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting 2 years.
Yeah, I like Jordan. I actually had him in the studio here years ago with Walter Jones, so I know that they were really good friends.
Yes, they were.
And I think Jordan is a good guy. I hope he can get his crap together with all the other folks there.
Well, I hope so too. Jim is right where he needs to be on judiciary, and my friend Dan Bishop over in the western part of the state is on the same thing. That's what they should be doing. I like to kid my friend Dan that he'd argue with a flower pot if he could, and but I'm where I should be, and really more of on ways and means, which is taxation, which is trade, which is healthcare for our country. I'm also hopefully getting back to be a waiver to be on Veterans Affairs in this Congress, and so I'm where I think I need to be, where my strengths can help our district and our country the most, and other individuals I think are on their best committees also. So I think we're really going to have a good Republican unity, I hope, moving in 2020 as we move in the next session, and then hopefully get the clown out of the White House that is right now. I respect the office, but I just can't respect the person that's there right now.
I just hope that on January 21st in the year 2025, that I will be able to say, if I live long enough, good God, that I will be able to see that there will be 3 completely controlled units in our system for a while. I would like to see that. However, I go back to 2017. We had that at that time, and we blew it for 2 straight years.
Well, some of those individuals who blew it, or who, there has to be. You have to understand that politics. There's not perfection in politics.
Not at all.
There's not perfection in politics. There's no bill that's absolutely perfect. And some individuals, and you sometimes have to be 51% for something and 49% against it. But when it comes down to push the yes or no button, you got to pick one or the other. And so sometimes there are poison pills that are in bills that you just say, no, I'm sorry, I like most of the bill, but there are poison pills in it. I can't vote for it.
Yep.
But if that's your mantra, that you're going to vote just because there's something that you may not like in a bill, you can't vote for it every time, then we're never going to get anything done. You have to look at the totality of what legislation involves, and just try to move forward and just keep stagnating or stop moving backwards. So we'll see how well that happens. We'll see how well that happens. It's a big challenge for us.
I'm counting on you, Dr. Murphy, and I'm counting on all the others up there, because I know you're carrying a lot of weight as a medical doctor. You're leading the charge there in the House now too. By the way, I like that. Thank you.
Yes.
We do appreciate that, because we need some professionalism. We need some smarts. We need some reality. Those are 3 things. That's all we need. If we got that, we win the world.
I think so. We just have to have balance, and we have to have perspective. I think people need to have perspective and be able to look at problems from different viewpoints rather than just one way of looking at things. And I think that's the best way to problem solve. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everybody, nor should you. But I think these are complex problems, and we have to look at them in a complex manner. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be talking with you during the holidays. Hope they will all go very well for you. Good luck on your trip if it gets off the ground.
Well, I doubt but
yeah,
we'll see.
I doubt
We'll
it
see what
too.
the Democrats do. So
Yeah, I kind of doubt it too, but just in case. And be safe.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, God bless y'all. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
And
You
you
too.
too, sir.
Best to Wendy.
Take care. All right. Take care.
Bye bye. You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We're going to take a break, do a little bit of weather, come back, and we may do a roundtable in here real quick, but we'll open up the phones. You got anything you want to talk about, particularly with what we've discussed this morning? Love to hear from you. I like reaction to what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great call from our district attorney this morning
Yep.
about a major international case, because this thing actually went around the world. It was news articles. BBC had stories on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a major story. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
a tragic but major story, and the situation could have gone in so many directions. We had Dr. Rose. We have a potential here for a serious problem, medically speaking,
Yes.
with the flu, with kids,
Mm-hmm.
with the other diseases that kids have as well. We don't want to go through that again. COVID is still out there.
Mm-hmm. It is. I know somebody with it.
We got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dr. Murphy, so many different areas there we just discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all want to react, now is your turn. 910-333-0139. Just give us a little bit of time to get through weather. You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. And we're back, and told you last hour for the about weather. The New River is a fine place to do your fishing, to boat. Summertime, you can do some tubing out there. All sorts of recreational possibilities on the New River. Right here begins and ends in Onslow County. That's the New River. The other river called New River is in the western part of the state, and I don't care.
Well, say it
It's not
without
my way.
the. It's not proper grammar.
It's the New River, capital V, New River. It's a great place, and if you want to do some fishing for speckled trout or redfish, it's a place to go. The shallows are there. You can get up into some of the creeks. Another guy caught some and the trout this weekend. Oh, a little bit of sort of mostly sauteed, a little bit of frying going on with that fish, and then some baked sweet potato with honey on it.
Oh,
That
yes.
is what it's all about, y'all. And yes, we got a couple of callers, so hang in there. We're doing the weather. Tideline Marine in Jacksonville on the banks of the New River in the downtown area, 159 Old Bridge Street. They've got supplies for you. They got ethanol-free gasoline. Don't put anything else in your boat except ethanol-free. We'll go into that again one of these days. I got to get George in here. Let me explain to you and us what kind of damage that regular gas that's got ethanol in it does to your motors. We'll get him in here maybe during the Christmas holidays to talk about that. The fishing lures available. The pro staffers out there, the professional fishermen, the guides, they talk with George and Lise, and they place orders based upon what these guys say they fish with, what they use. They're not going to fish with stuff that ain't going to catch them fish. Why would they? Their customers demand that they catch fish, so they know what to use, and they share it with George. George shares it with you. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Northerly winds today, 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5, about 2 feet near shore, dominant period 8 seconds, sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Small craft advisory will go into effect late tonight. We'll be here through Friday afternoon. Southeasterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 20, becoming southerly, 20 to 25 in the afternoon, 5 to 7 footers, building to 6 to 9 in the afternoon near shore, seas 2 to 4 feet. Building to 4 to 6 in the afternoon, dominant period 8 seconds, decreasing to 6 seconds in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers choppy, becoming rough in the afternoon. Friday, westerly winds 15 to 20 with gusts to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas 4 to 6, 3 to 4 near shore.
Today, partly sunny, a high of 52. Tonight, after 1 a.m., the rain will start, and there will be a low of 44. So a little warmer tonight than it was last night. And on Friday, sunny, high of 58.
And you mentioned the four-letter word earlier in the show today without talking about it over on the air.
Yes.
And you're claiming
I'm just looking
that
at
there is
extended.
a report out there
Several.
that claims there's
Yeah.
that four-letter word going to be
Yeah.
dusting us over Christmas.
Yes, and it's have to not
About it, sunny and 70.
Well, I just think that the low front that's coming up, the low pressure system, it's going to skirt us and go off coast, while the low pressure system that has all the snow is going to go more north. So I
Good.
don't know.
Not
I
a
don't
problem.
know.
Well,
We got
Mom's
two
supposed to get it.
callers.
I'm
Line
avoiding
one.
it.
Who's this?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Rayford, this is Jimmy. How you doing?
Fine, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Good. I've been waiting to call. I've been listening forever. But, this morning when Ernie Lee was on there, I've been wanting to call yesterday even. For 7 years, I've been privileged to be able to share the gospel in the Onslow County Jail. And one Sunday morning, I was heading in there, and I heard the Lord tell me to share the story about my son dying when I was a Christian in 1994, how I held him dead in my arms. And, I got in there and I was sharing that. And I looked on the back wall sitting in there. And, of course, the inmates are all handcuffed down in orange suits. And is crying his eyes out, big alligator tears. And, I told him how I tried everything there was to find the answer after my son died. But until the Lord come on the scene, I didn't find it. And, I shared this story And I made an altar call. If you fall in the New River, I'll save you. But as far as getting you to heaven, I can't. Because the Bible says no man comes to the Father unless the Spirit calls. And this kid comes up, and he's crying, and he gives me his name. And he said his name was
Earl Kimry.
Kimry.
Wow.
And when he did, I'm telling you, I wanted to strangle him. But the Lord said, my mercy is greater than yours. And, you know, I just wanted to share that with y'all. He was a terrible person with everything that went down. But that voice, that evil voice is speaking to so many of our youth today through that meth use or whatever their hang up is. And, man, I'm telling you, the country's in a bad way.
Jimmy, you're a breath of fresh air.
I know. I'm tearing up.
It's a good story.
Yeah, it's a great story, and the jail is full of those stories.
Yep.
We know that, and people like you are able to tell them, and to bring them to
There's
light.
another guy in there that killed the Northside student and the old.
Yeah, he's charged with it. He hasn't been convicted of it yet.
stabbing.
Yeah, his name is Willie George. I've seen him give his life to Jesus. The guy that killed the lady in the bingo parlor.
Yeah.
Larry Forrest. I've
Remember
seen him get saved. You know, a lot of folks in there need Jesus. And if they had it before they got there, more than likely they wouldn't be trying to kill someone.
There you go.
And that's the truth of the matter. But hey, man, I really appreciate y'all letting me call in.
Jimmy,
and
thank
y'all
you.
listening.
Yeah.
Anytime,
And
sir.
y'all have a very Merry Christmas. And God
Thank you.
bless
You too,
guys.
sir.
You too, Jimmy. Take
Glad
care.
you're doing better. Rayford, been praying for you.
Appreciate it. It's working.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Got another caller here. Good morning. Who's this?
Morning, Rayford. How's everybody?
Good morning, Chris.
We're kind of hanging in here, just
Good morning.
kumbaya and all that sort of good stuff. What's on your mind?
Anyway, I was enjoying the show. Appreciate all your guests being on the radio this morning.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask Lee to do a favor again for everybody that has veterans over at the Coastal Veterans Cemetery about this Saturday.
Yes.
And how the arrangements are being made as far as individual people laying wreaths, and then the ceremony at 12 noon, and then the rest of the wreaths being done, because a lot of confusion going on. Lee is so much involved in it.
Oh, she is.
Well, I'm not as involved this year like I was last year. I kind of sat back this year, but I did talk to one of the coordinators, and this is the deal. If you ordered a wreath specifically for a named grave, like I ordered one in the name of my father, Kelly ordered one in the name of her father-in-law, you are to be there at 10:30 that Saturday morning, where the coordinator will check her list and see if your name is on it, and she will give you that wreath. So I assume that at that time we'll go and place those wreaths on the graves.
Okay.
So as not to get mixed in with the public's doing.
Right.
Now the public will come at 12 noon for the ceremony, and then right after the ceremony, they will place the wreaths that were bought randomly by different people. Because Rayford, you might have gone on there and ordered 10 wreaths to
You
go to
never
that.
know.
So that would be you. And if you wanted to go, and in any other public members. And I do know that the ones that are coming at 10:30 will have assigned seats. They will have seats for them out there. So they will have special seating when the ceremony does start at noontime. So if you want to stick around after that and attend the ceremony at noontime, I know there's not been put anything out. There's not been any communication.
And that's sad.
I had to call to get this, but and like I said, last year I worked really hard on it. This year I kind of sat out, but there may be some things in the work for 2023. So we'll let you know.
Yeah, I heard that rumor, Lee. I hope it's not.
Yeah, we talked
I
about
hope
that
it's not.
yesterday.
Chris, you might be involved in that one.
I wasn't going to mention that part,
Chris
but
has already
one
volunteered
person-
help, and I've already had a group in Swansboro that is interested
I
in
think
helping.
Chris got voluntold. Just guessing,
Yeah,
but anyway.
wait.
Well, this is my first year because Dad passed
Right.
3 weeks ago. But I'm just curious, when you do enter for the 1031, do you know, you go to the gravesite, or do you?
You
go
just
meet
go
at the
right out there to
village?
the graveyard itself, and they'll be meeting right out there in front of the building. You'll see everybody,
Thank you.
so. And I guess because like when I ordered ordered for more than just my dad. I ordered for some other friends in my name, and so if they show up, I'll just give them the wreath to put down, and if not, then I'll just put them down for all the ones I ordered for. But yes, she'll have a list. I sent a list in of specifics also besides the form I filled out to the national. So
Chris, thank you, sir.
Well, on a quick note, Rachel, I'm glad you're doing well. Kelly, I had a chance to talk to your husband, and I'm glad you're doing well.
Thank you.
He and I had a conversation, and I'm glad you're doing well. Lee, I already told you yesterday, love you for what you do.
thanks, Chris.
The community needs a lot of people, need a lot more information coming from the local radio station here, because that's all we have now.
That's right. That's
So
what we're
thanks for
trying to
y'all
do.
Getting the word out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do what we can,
Y'all have a
Chris.
blessed day.
You too.
Thank you.
Let's take a break. You're live in Local Real Talk. Don't go away. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and you Republicans have just got all sorts of things going on, don't you?
It's starting to they're really starting to become incredibly
You need to
idiotic,
get your mess together.
especially here locally.
Get your mess together. That's all I
So,
can tell you.
mhm.
So anyway,
Well, let me just
I'm
say,
over
if you're an
almost done with
elected
it.
official, you were elected by the vote of the people.
Correct.
And you're
So why would you-
representing those people as when you're on the commissioner board, the board of education board, a judgeship or whatever, you're representing the people.
But you're representing those people on the executive council of
That's
the
right.
Republican
So
Party
if
as
you're on
well.
Okay,
the
here's the problem.
executive committee,
here's the gripe. Here's the complaint. Talked
it's just
about this since
ridiculous.
Jack Bright tendered his resignation
Right.
a couple of
Mhm.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
There is a process in
Yeah.
place.
Correct.
Okay, in Oslo County and 40 other counties.
Correct.
41 counties. total.
42, I thought, but
I don't
something.
know. That process in those counties
Mhm.
is that the executive committee
Yes.
on whatever party it is, Democrat or Republican Party, if a person of that persuasion, whatever political affiliation, resigns, dies, or whatever before his or her term is over,
Mhm.
then the party's executive committee will appoint in one way or another someone to replace that person to fill the unexpired
Correct.
term. Now, all the people on the executive committee in Oslo County for the Republican Party, I do not know about the Democrat Party because they don't have anybody on the boards that I know anything about.
Oops.
But all the people on the Republican Party, the executive committee, there are about 60 plus of them, 70 plus of them, right? All of the elected officials, though, are Republicans, city council, is that correct? If they
well,
are a Republican. Or
no,
is it
no,
just
city
nonpartisan?
council is just the county
Okay,
offices, right?
just the county offices, because the city council is nonpartisan, so you don't.
Right. It's just commissioner and board of education. That's the only two.
Well, none of the other elected
What about
officials.
judges?
Judges are appointed. If there's a vacancy, the governor will step
No,
in.
no. Do they serve on the executive committee? If
Yes,
they're
they
from
do.
Oslo County?
Yes,
The
they
district
do.
attorney serves on the
That's
executive
right.
committee. The
Correct.
sheriff serves on the executive
That's
committee.
correct.
The clerk of
Yes.
court. So all of these people who are
That we
elected,
elected.
That the people elected.
that
Yes.
the people have elected,
Mhm.
serve on this executive committee. So
That's
there's
right.
going to be probably 30 of them, I'm guessing.
Elected officials.
Yes.
Yes, probably.
So about half or close to.
Right.
I saw something that you sent me just a minute ago.
Yep.
One of our elected officials
Mhm.
who actually is on that committee said, I abstained from voting because I don't think elected officials should be part of that.
Well, how did she think she got elected? By the
Aren't
voice
they-
of the people. Is she not the
Do-
voice of the
do
people?
the
Apparently,
people-
she's the voice
Let
of
me
a
ask you
group.
this. If you are running for office,
Mhm.
should you not be allowed to vote for yourself or vote for somebody else?
I would think that's yes.
Should
Mhm.
you just be, second class and not be allowed the right to vote?
Well, we know what the whole thing is
I
about.
don't know. So, y'all need to get it together. is all I
Boils
can tell
down
you.
to this one little radical group.
But see, it seems to me like this particular group wants to put their puppet people in place. So they want to make it, they're wanting to remove the elected officials because 9 times out of 10, most of the elected officials probably don't think the way they do. So if they're not able to vote, that is less
Now,
numbers.
here's what you're saying. This group is not able to control the people who are elected.
Exactly.
Okay. let's
That's
just
what
boil
I'm
it down to
saying.
What it
Yes.
really matters.
Yes,
what it
that's
means.
exactly what I'm saying.
This
Yes.
group of people, self-appointed,
Mhm.
self-anointed
Hmm.
Good word,
individuals,
yes.
Yeah.
want to be able to control those people who have been elected. This group does not represent all of the voters in Onslow County.
They absolutely do not.
Okay, not from what I've
They've
seen.
made that very clear.
They have made it very clear,
Mhm.
but they think they're holier than thou.
And which is
So
comical with
therefore-
some of them.
Therefore, I holier than thou, and I should be able to decide how this guy's going to vote.
Well,
or whether this guy's going to even serve or not.
Let's just talk
me a
about
break.
some of the people in that little group. How many times they've run for elected offices or offices within the
And didn't make
Republican
it.
and lost.
Yeah, well,
That should be your first clue.
the will of the people.
That's right. The will of the people voted
But
against them.
it just appears to me that they're saying, if you don't trust an elected official to be on the EC, how are you trusting them to be able to do the job?
That is extremely
And here's
correct.
the thing: do they
Yes.
not think that the elected officials talk to their constituents? Because being married to an elected official, I can tell you how often the phone rings that constituents are calling. So part of being on that EC is why you're on that EC, to do the will that people say.
Gotcha.
Bottom line. Like, I just don't
I'm
understand.
going to talk about some good news
Let's hear it.
before we
I
go
need
to a
something
break.
good.
You know,
I
Well,
y'all get
because
the
Kelly
chance
and
to-
I'll get worked up in
Y'all
a
going to just
heartbeat.
get to cool down here, right?
I don't know. You're
Okay.
probably about to fire me up again.
A
Let's
bit of
hear it.
bright, no.
Oh, okay.
Bright news in the world of a new source of energy, not dependent on sunshine nor wind. It's called nuclear fusion, not nuclear explosion. It's where you bring the stuff together. Makes no difference how you bend it or shape it. Making 1 unit of heat, for instance, has always required more than 1 unit of energy. You would never even, or in the plus column, if you had to use more oil to produce 1 unit of energy than that 1 unit of energy was. Okay, makes no difference if you bend it, shape it, making the unit one unit of heat. Whether it came from fossil fuels, windmills, or solar farms, it required more energy to produce energy. You understand that? It's not perfect. For the first time, man has made a breakthrough and has been able to produce more energy in a test than the amount of energy that it used to produce that energy. They gained energy. They fired. Here's the way it went down. Maybe this will help you. 192 lasers pointed at a certain pellet, and the energy produced was more than the lasers required. In other words, if it had been electrically generated energy, they could have turned it right around and it would have powered those 192 lasers, and they could have just kept right on producing energy after energy after energy after energy and gaining more energy as they went along.
Interesting.
Sounds fairly insignificant, maybe, to a lot of people. This is real. And it could become our next source of unlimited energy, one that will reduce the negative aspects of other forms of energy generation. What's exciting is that this could become a reality in the next decade.
Extremely
Until
interesting.
now, nuclear generators, while very efficient and very clean, were not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There were still remains when you use nuclear energy that have to be disposed of that are harmful to the earth. In other words, they go through this half-life thing, they call it.
Where do you get the atoms for this?
I don't know if I like using nuclear, but okay.
Nuclear is going to be the way, and it's going to say the Green Deal part. Yeah, you won't be burning fossil fuels. We got to get behind this thing. Just take a break. We got a caller, but don't go away. You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. And we're back. Going to go to first to caller number 1 on line 1. Who's this?
Hey guys, this is Steve. I just wanted to call back in because you were talking about the cool technology that just come out with the fusion versus fission, and that it doesn't produce nuclear waste. Only thing I want to say is that I hope we use this newfound technology for good to produce energy and not to enhance some weapon system along the way.
I think we've got weapon systems that are so well enhanced with nuclear stuff that way beyond what we will ever be able to survive. I don't think we need to do any more.
Well, with that adding of fusion now, there's the possibility that you could have an explosion of that magnitude and not leave radiation.
Yeah, well, there's always a risk of an explosion with your home generator or my pot of boiling oil when I start to cook turkeys. Always a risk of explosions. Safeguards and safeguards.
I say a little prayer for humanity that we use this newfound technology for good and not find another way to destroy the planet.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, anyway, y'all have a good day.
You too.
That was all I wanted to add.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Theo, call back here.
Yeah,
if you would,
Theo,
please.
we saw you
We got
calling.
time to talk with you. You hurry up and get that call in because we've been waiting for you. I've been wanting to talk to you forever and ever. Wonder what it's like to be old.
You better stop.
What?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, let's see. What we got anything tomorrow? I haven't even looked at the calendar.
No.
Well, tomorrow we could talk about Oregon and we'll see if you're going to move there,
Yeah.
No,
considering the changes they're making.
I have no reason to move there. It's like, good golly, Miss Molly. Yeah, you lead that back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anybody scheduled tomorrow.
There's no, not yet.
Good morning. How are you?
Deplorables, what's going on?
Hey, Theo.
Been waiting for you, Theo. How you doing?
Listen, let me tell you something. You're not dehydrated. You're deplorable. You should have had that D taken out when the doctor was in there. That's your problem.
I should have had the what taken
The
out?
D for deplorable.
Deplorable. No.
Yeah, so then you'll just be plorable.
I might. You would be absolutely amazed at the
You're not dehydrated. Plus, you said you're taking about 5 pills. Another 5 little D's. More drugs in you. You're loaded with D's, baby.
There you go.
You know,
sunshine D's.
Yeah, that D is good for you, but you're a hot mess.
And coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, we got another daily dose of the D's. With the red D's coming on.
Listen, let me ask you a very serious question. Why isn't that room decorated for Christmas?
This room?
Yeah, that room. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
We're making changes in here, and we're taking some stuff down. And
we got some things that we'll.
You could put a Santa Claus or Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Bring us our seahorse in here.
I'm glad you said that because I had some stuff to bring and put on the desk. We're not going to do a lot because we're renovating our little hole here.
We're working on some
you
stuff
still
here.
got to decorate for Christmas.
We
Come
will.
on, people.
We will do that.
We'll do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
These ladies will take care of it.
We will, because I got a ton of stuff. You should see my house.
I'm gonna go last year a reindeer with you, man.
Did you notice gas is low? Did you say anything? Where's your monologue on gas today? Where is it?
Rayford probably doesn't know because he hasn't been out and about. He hasn't seen the prices.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been kind of sidelined there, Theo. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you're sidelined, all right. When you're calling Mike McVeigh, what the hell's wrong with you, man?
I don't know. I had a little.
You're losing it. You're losing it. You talk about Biden and the what? And President's first.
Yeah. Her name is Kamala Harris.
No. Tell Robin to keep you home. You can't come out anymore.
Yes, I can. She wants me out.
Yeah, and I think now that he's starting to get out, he'll be a little more aware of what's going on.
You better spend some time on this radio station. I'm sick and tired after 10 years. You're on, you're off. You're on, you're off. Fix this station, man. What's your problem?
What do you mean?
Stations. What do you mean I'm off?
What's happening?
Wait. Yesterday you had no sound in the radio. As I was coming out from work, I couldn't hear you.
Was that at the 7 o'clock hour?
Yes.
Yeah, there was an issue with the signal.
Tell them
Not
about
us. It was the main station.
Yeah.
Come on.
And it was like 5 minutes.
Excuses. Some little kid goes in there and changes the knobs and bull after bull. Come on, get this radio station professional, okay?
Oh,
right,
let me tell you, the knob happens in this room. They come in here at night. We have purposely set traps to prove. They move our chairs, they turn our knobs, they knock the phones off the
And
thing.
now
It's
we
little
have a-
heathen
Who's
kids.
that?
And
Ghost.
now we have a camera.
Yeah, we got a
Yes.
camera now.
We'll tell you all about it one day.
Okay, get the station together, will you please?
Well, you
We'll
should
work
come
on it.
in. You should come in one morning.
Yeah,
not,
maybe.
not with a station like that. If people can't listen to me.
No, they'll listen to
Oh,
you.
they'll listen to
No.
That
you.
was that wasn't our fault, and it was fixed very
Okay,
quick.
we got to
Yeah.
run.
Bye,
All right,
Theo.
take it
Thank
easy.
you, Theo.
We
Bye.
love you anyway.
We do. We love Theo.
All right. Anyway, we're going to take a break here for about 22 hours. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Have no idea what we're going to talk about except the left coast, the northwest.
Rayfield
left
wants to move
coast.
there because he
Uh-huh.
likes the new changes the governor's
Yeah,
making.
you got that
No.
right. Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think we need to send our current governor over there, though. He could be the vice governor or something.
Is there such a thing? Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
governor of vice. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow morning and see what's going on in the wild, wacky world that we all live in.
It works.
And we do appreciate you guys sticking with us.
We do. We love it.
And we do, all of our callers
Mhm.
and all of our listeners. And even those who post on Facebook. My God,
I love it.
that Christmas tree, y'all
Mhm.
haven't
Oh.
seen the Christmas tree that was falling over and the kitty cat.
And it
that
was
in
not
front of it.
Rayford's tree at his house,
It
by the
was
way.
not my
Right.
tree.
No,
was not my cat.
His cat's black.
And
Yep.
so anyway, the
We had-
comments there were precious.
They
Thank
were
you, one and
amazing.
all.
We love
I
it.
even responded to a couple of them
Yeah.
this morning.
They were good.
So we do have a sense of humor, and
Yeah.
we enjoy using that as much as anything else. Humor does make the world go round, and it also makes you get out of the hospital a lot easier. I will tell you that. You heal up a lot better.
We've already got 69 hits on one that I posted 10 minutes ago.
Okay, that's
So,
cool.
there
Y'all
you
get to
go.
Facebook, take a look at it, and make
We
comments.
try.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
All right.
we're going to take a break.
Yep.
Tomorrow morning, being this morning, right after Fox News break right now, we're going to check in with Rick Dees, a daily dose of the Dees. And then at 3 o'clock this afternoon, it's our buddy Hollywood live and in person in the house. Have a great rest of your day.